My mum and Maggie met at New Year's Eve in 1999 and they were invited to a party and they walked in and they were both wearing exactly the same outfit. They complemented each other and they had a great life together. I think for Mum, one of the reasons that she delayed going into hospital for her end of life was that she was really worried about what would happen to her and Maggie and whether Maggie would be sidelined and excluded from the process. Mum's a lawyer and she had prepared every possible piece of paper you could to try and ensure that her wishes were respected right to the end. But she knew pieces of paper aren't enough to hold up against people's attitudes. And so she was worrying about the recognition of her relationship when she should have been worried about how she could spend her final days in a situation of love. For all of us, it's this really, gut-wrenching emotional experience, and we wheel her into the administration centre, and then this admin person starts going through the form. And then she said, okay, so marital status, oh, don't worry about that, I've got that here, she's widowed. I said, that's true, she was widowed in 1976, but Maggie's her partner, they've been together since 1999. And you can actually have marriage and you can have in a bracket same sex, that's actually on your form. She said, no, I've never heard of that before, I'm going to say that she's widowed because that's her legal married status. The very fear that Mum had that Maggie wouldn't be able to be recognised, that her relationship, that the love of her life would be sidelined, that happened. And it was just awful. And then every time someone came into the room, oh, well, who's the next of kin? Can you fill out this paperwork? Oh, well, her partner Maggie is. Oh, but who's legally the next of kin? Her partner Maggie is. Here's the paperwork, and it was this constant thing. If all of those staff knew that Maggie was Mum's wife, there wouldn't have been a question. In the healthcare area, marriage equality is especially important because as a society, we're saying these relationships are equally as important, equally as valued, equally as legitimate. And I think language is very powerful in doing that. To our politicians, when you're thinking about this question, think about those that you love, those that you hold dearest, and ask yourselves at that time in their life when they're facing their last days, do you really want them to be having to explain their relationship? Wouldn't it be more compassionate? And wouldn't it be a reflection of our society as a loving, inclusive society for the relationships to be taken for granted because they are equal? And it's not a moment where we question the status of the relationship. It's a moment where we're focusing on love and making those last days as beautiful and as comfortable as possible.